I'm here at the Experts Conference Europe in Frankfurt, and I meet Hans Vredevoort. I hope it's correct, Hans?
That's correct.
We have done a video before, and you have done a nice presentation about storage in Hyper-V, and there was a part in it where my viewers are especially interested, I think. It's about the next version of Hyper-V and the storage.
Correct. I did a presentation on the storage. I compared the current storage features of Hyper-V version 2, or the version which is in R2, and I set it off against what is expected in the new version of Hyper-V in Server 8 or Windows Server 8. So I started off with the VHD format and the different virtual formats. And of course we are used to VHD for some time now, and after 5-6 years there's now a very big improvement to that format called the VHDX format. So I talked about VHDX, I talked about shared storage, I talked about improvements to live migration, storage migrations. There was a nice topic about new storage spaces. So there are all kinds of new interesting developments.
So there is many to choose from. Maybe you tell us what are the big advantages of the new VHDX format first.
Okay, let's start with that one. VHDX is now a format which can grow up to 16 terabytes. And you might ask, well, why 16 terabytes? Actually, it's not a limitation from Windows at all, or not from the format, I should say, because the block allocation table could grow to 16 exabytes, but it's Windows which limits it at the moment. So even Windows 8 will be able to grow to till 16 terabytes.
Okay.
Also new to that format is that it now has a log file, which is meant to protect against, let's say, a power failure in your server and corruption to the file. So any change to the format of the file, like the metadata change, is first written to the log and then to the file itself. So if there is a failure, the Hyper-V or Windows is able to recover from that log. So it adds extra resiliency to the format.
So this format is even better, but honestly, have you problems with any VHD files in the past?
I haven't, but maybe the chances are getting bigger if you have very big files, because it's always possible that the storage underneath there might happen something underneath. So it's just an extra protection for enterprise workloads.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was you said in your presentation there was one key feature for you in the new storage capabilities. What was it?
Well, the most impressive feature is probably the new possibilities with simple disks. I don't mean the shared disks, but now you can have just a bunch of disks, the JBODs or local disks, and pull them together. So in the new server manager, or you can add the role file server, and this file server is capable of combining all those separate disks to a pool. Yeah. And Microsoft calls it pools and spaces. So a space is something which is a virtual store based on the pool or derived from the pool, and it can have it is capable of up to 16 terabytes, thinly provisioned. So even if you have only 10 terabytes, you can still create a 64 terabyte virtual disk. And by the time
16 terabytes.
No, 64.
64,
yeah. The VHDX file is 16.
Okay.
But the pool is capable of hundreds of terabytes. Okay. But the space which are placed on the pool or derived from the pool, they can be virtual. They are thinly provisioned, and they can be anything from 1 gig to 64 terabytes.
Yeah. And this is built into Windows 8 natively. You don't have to use a storage vendor. I think there are also other nice.
is a bunch of disks.
Yeah.
Of course, these can be disks from a SAN, ISCS, or fiber channel, or shared SAS, even fiber channel over IP. What's it called? Fiber channel over IP.
Yeah.
FCO over Ethernet. I mean FCOE. The nice thing about that file server is that it can be used also in a cluster, and the disks you create out of the pool and the spaces, they are cluster shared volumes aware.
Okay.
So cluster shared volumes can use those disks. I forgot to mention that if you use all those separate disks, of course you need some redundancy. You need some kind of RAID. Yeah. So if you add, let's say, 16 disks, the creation of the pool makes sure that those disks are redundant.
Okay.
So you cannot use one separate disk because that would be too risky. So the nature of the pool is that if you have 16 disks, they are either mirrored or they are striped, but there is some kind of redundancy in there. Mm-hmm. So the lowest level are the physical disks. You pull all those disks together in a pool. On top of those pools, you can create pools of virtual disks, and those virtual disks can be thinly provisioned, and that virtual disk, can be presented to a cluster, and the cluster can use it as a cluster shared volumes. Okay. So what I'm really saying is that there's so much storage innovation in Windows Server 8. I haven't even scratched the surface because, as you know, the build conference was only 4 weeks ago, yeah. And when I started preparing for my presentation at TEC, well, I had only a few weeks to take a look at the capabilities. Luckily, I had a few servers available to try them out. So I built a Hyper-V 3 cluster with Windows Server 8. I also installed the server role, the file server roles, to be able to create those pools and spaces. And I was able to present those disks to that same cluster and use it as a CSV. And I must say that is probably the most impressive part, especially if I tell you that if you have a cluster of multiple Hyper-V servers, yeah. And in the back end you have a cluster of a file server cluster, they will use the new SMB 2.2 protocol, the storage message block protocol. And one of its capabilities is that it is able to recover from problems. So yeah. If there is a workload on one Hyper-V server and the underlying server which is hosting the disks fails, it is automatically recovering from another node. Yeah. So it's also very scalable. If you have 10, 12 file servers, they can all connect to the same disks. So you not only have fault tolerance, but also scale up performance.
I've seen the same video, and you played with it in your lab, but it was very impressive. And there are so many new features in Windows 8. It's unbelievable what they have done and what is coming there. Are there other features you want to talk about? Maybe there is this new protocol. You mentioned it, SMB 2.2. What is new in this area?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is that the old version was capable of only one TCP/IP session at the same time. And it was fast. It was much faster than the previous version, but this one is even a lot better because it can have multiple sessions, either on the same host or on multiple hosts. So it's capable of a much higher transmission speed, recoverability possibilities. So that's one aspect of SMB 2.2.
There was another announcement, and I talked with Didier in another video about it. This is teaming of network cards.
Correct. Well, teaming used to be a big problem in Hyper-V because Microsoft didn't formally support it. And if you are building a cluster, of course your network should be fault tolerant as well, or yeah. It should be able to fail over the networks. First of all, Microsoft said, well, you have to go to your vendor for support. So I work with HP a lot, so I've been using the teaming software from HP very often. And I must say, more often than not, I had problems with it, especially in the beginning. Later on, the drivers became better, and it wasn't always the teaming software that was failing. It sometimes was the network driver. The Broadcom is a very notorious nick, which caused me a lot of headaches.
Okay.
But so I'm very happy that Microsoft finally, and we really asked Microsoft to put it in the operating system. So NIC teaming is now a formal part of the operating system. It's supported by Microsoft. And the good thing is that you can mix different type of cards. So you can have an Intel NIC, a Broadcom NIC, and any vendor's network adapter. You can bind them together to form a logical NIC with one IP address. You have not only failover capabilities, but also performance improvement. So 2 times 10 gigabit will be 20 gigabit.
That's nice.
You have switch. You have teaming options where you depend on the configuration of the switch, but you also have switch independent teams. So I expect that the teaming will be very won't be so much of a problem anymore.
Are there some other things you want to talk about in the storage area?
Let me think. Well, storage-related things are both live migration in Hyper-V and storage migration. One thing was in Hyper-V we were able to do only one live migration at the same time, and now we're capable of doing that with 2, 3, 4, as many simultaneous live migrations as you could. But talking about storage, of course, I should talk about storage migration.
What is it?
Well, first of all, there are situations where you want to move your virtual machine from one physical server to another physical server. So in the R2 world, we could do that with Virtual Machine Manager 2008 R2. It's a feature of VMM. And with storage migration, the mechanism would be take a volume shader copy snapshot of the virtual machine, copy that file to another host, and move it to another location, and then it would take a few minutes, up to 2 minutes of downtime, to switch over to the other location. So for enterprises, it wouldn't be it wasn't all that good.
It wasn't usable.
It wasn't usable because of the downtime. With the new storage migration capability, which is not dependent on VMM, but it's native in the operating system. It's cluster aware, and you're able to move that virtual machine online, and not even within a cluster, but also between physical machines, and even from local storage to shared storage, or between cluster shared volumes, without the virtual machine going down.
And even in the client. That's another feature.
Of course, that's new. Hyper-V is now also a native part of the Windows client, Windows 8 client, and storage migration is there as well. So you can move from your local client to the Hyper-V server and back. Very interesting.
Very interesting features. So
another one.
Another one.
Maybe you know that if you take snapshots,
and
Hyper-V snapshots, what would happen if you deleted that snapshot?
It is still on the disk until you shut down your VM, and then it is merged.
Correct. The Hyper-V snapshots caused a lot of trouble, and possibly also caused by people not really understanding the technology. But mostly you delete the snapshot if you're out of disk space, or your VM crashes because there is no disk space left. So all of a sudden the administrator sees all kinds of files, VHD, AVHDs, and well, how can you get rid of that space? Well, not by deleting the HVHD, because you would end up with an empty VM. But in the past, if you shut down the machine, nothing would happen, or something would happen until you shut down the machine. And now if you just delete the snapshot, the files are deleted automatically and merged, and the VHD is merged to the VHD automatically.
It's a very nice feature. Hans, when the people want to know more about your work, where should they go to, and what is Hyper-V&Nu?
Well, Hyper-V.nu is a community. We started it about 3-4 years ago. It's originally a Dutch community, but since, well, social media, we expanded it to the rest of the world. Actually, so you can follow me, my Hans Vredevoort account. You can follow me on Twitter. We have a blog on Hyper-V.nu. I do talks quite often. I will be at Experts Live in November on the border between Belgium and the Netherlands, so we want to attract a broader audience. And we will have an event in January with our Hyper-V community, which will be on the 19th of January, and that will be at the Dutch Microsoft office.
Oh, nice. In Amsterdam?
In Schiphol, Amsterdam, yeah.
Okay. So I think we tell the people enough about Windows 8 and Hyper-V. There are many things more, but too much to talk about. But I think it's not the last time we talk about this feature.
I'll talk to you later.
Thank you very much, Hans, and a nice trip back to Amsterdam.
Okay, thanks very much, Karsten.